These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Breaking news. We're always here for breaking news. Jaylen Brown finally signed his contract extension with the Boston Celtics. It is a 5-year supermax extension for $300 million, the richest extension in NBA history. No player option, fully guaranteed, full 5 years. There is a trade kicker involved, which is floated as something that was probably holding up negotiations. We talked about it on a recent show saying, if the thing is a player option versus a trade kicker, just give him the player option and don't do the trade kicker. Find some sort of common ground. And it looks like the Celtics and Jaylen Brown did that. He'll be in Boston for, at the very least, next season and for the foreseeable future after that.
Yeah, it's good that it's done. We don't have to worry about that anymore. We don't have, where's he going to get traded to? None of that's happening anymore, which is great.
Yeah.
It's great. We'll have something to talk about on the next pod.
Yeah.
We're going to have this. It's great. No more Damian Lillard talk.
No.
We don't have to deal with it anymore.
Well, technically, they could still trade like Brogdon and White for no. I'm just no more Dame. We can end the Dame for Jaylen. Jaylen Brown can't be traded for a year. The Celtics literally cannot trade him. So even if he wanted to be traded next season, there was a lot of things saying like, "Oh, does Jaylen Brown even want to be in Boston? What about this? What about this?" He can't be traded for the first year of the deal. Obviously, I feel like most, if not all, Celtics fans wanted this deal to be done. I know personally, I tweeted out as soon as it happened, like the summer of speculation is finally over. There was a whole thing, Jaylen went overseas. How he's going to leave money on the table? We said it on the show.
He actually went to play overseas.
Yeah, it was never going to be an actual issue. It was always going to be the matter of getting the details done. And the no player option is interesting. I wonder how much of that was Jaylen would rather have the trade kicker, or it was just, okay, Jaylen was like, okay, let's get the guaranteed money. We'll take the super max. And Brad was like, okay, we'll give you the player option, but you have to take like X amount of million off the deal every year. Like, I wonder how much those sorts of negotiations went into finalizing this contract, because I think it's a really good deal for both sides.
Yeah, the Celtics get what they want, right? They get to keep Jaylen. They have him for 5 years. No player option, so they have less of a risk. The trade kicker could affect trades, correct? Because teams might not want to take on the extra salary. Is that how it works?
I'm not sure. I just think, I think he gets a little bit of boost in pay, or he gets a bonus, or I don't exactly know how a trade kicker works. I can Google it, but I know he gets more money if he gets traded.
Good for him.
Somehow.
I wonder if that counts if they request a trade. I feel like it shouldn't, because that's just building into your contract. I'm going to not play for this team anymore and get more money.
It looks like it's just a bonus. It's not like a contract bump. It's just like he gets some sort of bonus. Again, this is from one Google search. Take this for what it's worth, what I'm giving you here. It's a gesture to show a player they plan to keep him for the duration of the deal. A trade kicker functions like a no trade clause on some level. Obviously, it's not the same, but it's a no lose proposition for the player. The team creates some financial consequences if they do trade him. So from that perspective, it sounds like, okay, Jaylen wants to stay in Boston. From the perspective of the team would have to give him a bonus if they traded him. But at the same time, like you said, like in an era where players are requesting trades more than ever, it's like, well, if he requests a trade, does he still get the trade kicker, stuff like that? And I would assume stuff like that would get negotiated, and you could renegotiate something like that if it does come from the player side of things and they want to leave. But for all intents and purposes, this contract screams Jaylen wants to be in Boston, which is something that a lot of people decided to speculate about.
Very good.
Including myself. I'll hand up my bat. Like at the very start of the summer, we talked about it. And I mean, we had to talk about something, but
it's been pretty cloudy to say the least.
Yeah.
Because you truly don't know. Mm-hmm. There's been the one aspect where it's like, he says these things, and does he really want to be with the Celtics if he's saying this kind of stuff where he's kind of like, said he's got problems, blah, 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 blah. And like you say, if there's a trade kicker, it seems like he wants to be here.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not a no trade clause. It's not the kind of thing where he can completely use it as leverage. I don't know how much it affects the other team in the trade. It doesn't seem fair to those teams. It should affect the actual Celtics, not
It does. No, the
Hypothetically,
Celtics
yes.
would have to trade the Celtics pay the bonus to the player, I believe. I'm
Okay.
like
Well, even
90% sure
better.
that is how it works. So yeah, the Celtics would have to pay the bonus if that happens. But yeah, overall, just like finally happened. No trade clause, no player option. What do you make of the no player option? Like, how do you that was the thing that to me more than the trade kicker, like how it came about. Like, it sounds like this is something this like from the Celtics thing, because obviously if you're Jaylen, you'd probably rather have the player option, but at the same time, like, do you just take the guaranteed money versus this? Like, that sounds like something Jaylen's like, okay, I'll take the trade kicker if and I'll have no player option. That's like the Celtics bonus in the deal is the no player option.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about him leaving for at least an extra year.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
the big worry coming into this. We all didn't know, does he actually want to be on the Celtics? I know we already touched on this, but it's true.
No, yeah,
And
yeah.
this has kind of removed a lot of that doubt. You don't have that anymore. The Tatum one seems more like a layup than this. This was a bigger story. I feel like the Tatum one next year gets done very quickly, taken care
I
of.
hope so.
Won't have to worry about it. And the best part for Jaylen, he can't be in trade talks for at least a year. So not only does he get the trade kicker,
This is
he
true.
gets a free year, can't be traded. And I guess in return, the Celtics get that extra year of guaranteed having him on the team. The no player
Yeah.
option is bizarre. You're absolutely right. Because in today's world, it's just like these guys get what they want. That's the rule.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that's not to say Jaylen didn't deserve a player option. I would have been completely fine giving Jaylen a player option. He's earned it. He's an All NBA player.
That's what we expected.
He's done well. Yeah, and that's just what stars get. So that's why I was a little bit surprised to see that not be a part of the deal. But again, it sounds like a part of it was okay. I'll take the trade kicker, and I'll do no player option in that fifth and final year. But we're inevitably going to see people talk about it's the biggest contract in NBA history for Jaylen Brown. That's not really fair, because the context is players can literally get paid more now than they ever have been before. Like, people make a big deal out of Fred VanVleet contract, and to put it clearly, I don't think Fred VanVleet contract is a good one.
Who
But
has a better
like
contract?
Jaylen Brown, obviously.
Yeah.
But my point is, you can't say Jaylen Brown's getting paid more than Michael Jordan. That's gonna be a headline somewhere, and that's just like because yeah, but that's just not how the financial works. You have to look at it in context of percentage of the cap, and he'll be making, what is it, 35% of the cap for each of the star players. Is that roughly about what it's going to be? I think that's the number
I think that's how it's supposed to work.
So that's probably not too far off from what it's always been. Maybe it's a little higher, but when you look at it in the raw numbers of it's an average of what, like 60 million a season, it'll probably get up near 70 by the end of it. Like, that's a crazy amount of money. But from the perspective of Jaylen Brown is a max contract player, there should be no question he's absolutely a max contract player. And I think that's the context you have to take with it.
Yeah. I mean, they had to pay him. With the new CBA, you can throw that in and be like, listen, you have to keep these guys. And you have a lot of your roster already under contract, tied up, whatever you want to call it, for the future. You do. That's just how it works. Porzingis just signed an extension. Tatum's due one next year. White, Brogdon, Rob Williams, all under contract for a while. Horford had an extension last year. You don't have to worry about bringing in new guys. You really don't. At this point, ideally, you would have kept Grant too, and you have his bird rights, but you don't have that anymore. But yeah, you have so much already nailed down where you can afford to spend on these guys. Because essentially, these are your building blocks. These are your stars. You have to keep them happy. This is the right move. It always was. It's great that it's done. It's great that we don't have to speculate. It's great that we can put out a video for it, and it's done. It's like the Dame trade. It's like you waiting for that to be over. That was this for me, because it was always going to happen. Yeah, that's what it felt like. There was never any smoke of it being, oh, they're mentioning him in trade talks. It was speculation, but there was never any report that was happening.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, should we do the reaction video? Oh, let's react to Jaylen Brown highlights now because they signed to an extension.
No,
but yeah, like Sam said, glad it's done. It was always going to happen. It felt like it was just a matter of time. It was just, if anything, you know what? Thank you, Jaylen, for going overseas, because you gave us an extra couple weeks of content. You filled the show. You helped us out here.
Sure did.
Maybe, in some way, maybe Jaylen was really just looking out for the media. He really just wanted to help these guys out with content. So thank you, Jaylen. And yeah, I'm hyped to have him back in Boston. I've been the most critical guy for Jaylen Brown for most of the season.
Yeah, this is actually your doomsday.
Yeah, right.
And
No,
it
but
came
like,
out last week that they're not trading Brogdon. So this is the worst week ever for you.
yeah, what a week. No, but in all seriousness, like to get him back, to get Jaylen and I mean, knock on wood, Jason next year back on a contract for the next 5 seasons, like the Celtics future has this is something we talked about when we talked about the timeline 2 years ago. Everyone was like, okay, but how many years do you really have? Well, now you have like 4 or 5. Now you
Well,
have
also with
a legitimate
this,
window.
the amount of money it's for, we talked about
Mhm.
most expensive in history, which is just subject to the times. But in reality, if they end up for whatever reason wanting to trade Brown, this is not a super tradable contract. It doesn't seem as valuable to another team compared to the Celtics, especially if they don't already have a first guy, right? Because the Celtics, it's different. The Celtics, this is just a cog in their machine. He's one of their top guys. They owe it to him. But if let's just say you trade or swap Jaylen Brown for Bradley Beal in this summer's storylines, right? So Jaylen Brown is the guy that Phoenix is going after. Is he really that valuable to a Phoenix team? Well, Phoenix is the wrong example, actually. Let's say Houston, right?
I still
Does
think they would
Houston
take
want to
him.
pay him up to
Yeah.
$70 million at the end?
You just said I'd rather pay him that than Fred VanVleet what they paid him.
Okay, but if you add Jaylen Brown to the Rockets as is, even with the VanVleet thing, and I'm kind of talking before they got VanVleet, they're not a really competitive team. They're a playoff team, I guess. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this, him alone does not get you a title. So you already have to have something else. And it's difficult to get there if you're not the Celtics with him eating that much of your cap room, with the new CBA, all the different like ties and handcuffs the CBA puts on.
I only disagree because of how easy I think it could be for another team to get up to that matching salary. Like you look at a team like the Heat, they have enough salary to match a deal like that with players that don't matter to them. You look at a team like, say the Grizzlies wanted to make a deal for Jaylen Brown. They could trade one of their 3 guys if they wanted to, shake up their core and then throw in an extra piece off the bench and they could get there. You look at a team like the Magic, they could find some salary there. Like I feel like there are easy ways to get up to that salary point. And I just feel like with the way, like by the time Jaylen Brown, this is going to sound crazy because it sounds already crazy to say that he's getting paid 70 mil. Imagine 17 mil for Jaylen Brown. But like by the time his contract's up, like it's not going to be like, it's going to look like, oh, I can't believe they got him for 70 million. And that's, again, that sounds nuts right now. But if this is the spike right now, imagine the spike in 5 years. Max Player's getting paid $100 million. Like genuinely.
That's true.
So I understand what you're saying though. Like if you are a team looking to trade for a star, when is the last time a team traded for a 1A? That's a good question. That could be a podcast topic. Yeah, I guess, but like without already having a 1A on the roster. And this can be a pod topic, but like, do you know what I'm saying? Because excuse me, I can't remember the last time something like that happened. I don't know. Has it ever happened? Kawhi, the Raptors. Yeah. The Raptors did. Yes, the Raptors absolutely is the answer. But anyways, Celtics, I know. It took me a second. Jaylen Brown signed an extension, 5 years, $304 million, biggest contract in NBA history. No player option, no options. There is a trade kicker, but he'll be here for 5 years. And that's 5 years after this upcoming season. So you've got him for a while now. And then Tatum next season, hopefully. But thank you all for tuning in for the breaking news. I'll let Sam take us out so we can get back to what we're doing.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Join over 1,000 others. Hit the notification bell, like, comment. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. You can follow us on social at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Facebook is just the name of the pod. And you can follow Jack at JacksWinNBA. You can follow me at Sammy France NBA at the First Pod.